Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Hobbymaster F-18E Super Hornet. It is in 1/72 scale. It's die-cast, of course, and this is part number HA-5126, and it's the Pukin Dogs 2009 version, right here in this picture. It doesn't have the front flap that a lot of the Hobbymaster models have, so if you want to display it in the actual case itself, you can't really do that. On the back, it has the same general information, just some information about the F-18E, some specs, so we'll get into that. And then also, I have a really cool aircraft carrier deck diorama by Basecraft, which I'll be reviewing as well. This thing is awesome, guys, so stay tuned. We'll go ahead and open it up now. On the back here, you just have this little flap that you open up, and then you can slide the model out. And Hobbymaster does a good job at protecting their models during shipping with these styrofoam cases. And then looks like right here up top we have some AIM-120s, which are the missiles, and then we have the base. All right, we'll go ahead and take the top off. We'll get to these in a little bit. First thing you'll notice here is the tissue paper. This is totally normal for Hobbymaster. When I first got mine, I thought it was used. I was like, why is there tissue paper in here? But it's actually to protect the model during shipping and to keep it from getting scratched. So to take the model out of the case, what I like to do is grab it from the nose here. Just be careful of the antenna underneath, because if you grab it from the sides, you can actually rip off the side winders right here. They're just glued on. So take a first look here. Looks pretty good. It's a little more glossy than I like, but I think it's because it's supposed to be a brand new aircraft. The paint does look really good as well. VFA-143, and then it has Pukin Dogs right there on the side. Let's see what this says right here. Captain Calvin Craig, and it looks like it says DCAG. So overall, looks pretty good so far. Here's the underside. And these are the antennae I was talking about at the nose that you have to be careful about. All right, so here's everything that came in the box. So we'll take a look at the ordnance first. It comes with a targeting pod here, and unfortunately it doesn't actually rotate. This is where the lens would be, and it would rotate and follow the target that you were lasing right here. And then it also comes with these two AIM-120s on their hard points already. And you can actually remove it if you wanted to. It just has some glue that holds it on. So if you wanted to remove them for whatever reason, just leave the hard points, you could do that. And these are the exact same, so there's no difference between the two. There's no writing or text on the missiles. I wish there were, but there's not. It still looks really good. Next up, we have two JDAMs, and these are basically dumb bombs, which are unguided, fitted with a certain GPS system. Sometimes they could be laser guided as well, but they were basically GPS bombs that could be released by using the targeting pod here to find a target or using GPS coordinates. And then when they released them, it would go directly to the target. Again, no writing or text on them, but they still look pretty good. And they already come on the hard point as well. So exactly the same, identical. We do have another AIM-120. And this AIM-120 would actually be side mounted. And I'll show you in a little bit on the bottom of the fuselage, I think on the left side. So they could carry a lot of AIM-120s. Really good for air support, air superiority. The F-18 was a multi-purpose aircraft. It could do air to ground, also air superiority. But in this one here, we have two more AIM-120s, but they are on hard points. And I don't know what the name of this hard point is that carries two, but different hard points have names for how many they can carry. So this comes with two, same thing with this one here, and these are wing mounted, which I'll show y'all here in a little bit. Next up, we have the canopy, and it does have some text on it, which I'll go in closer later, but this is actually the hydraulic arm that would hold it up. We also have the pilot here, and the pilot is pretty standard, typical Hobbymaster American pilot for jet, and so it looks okay. I mean, it's got a gray helmet, it has a mask, oxygen as well, so pretty decent there. Next up, we have the landing gear. Now you can actually do the landing gear down or up. I'll show you where the up inserts are, the doors, but the landing gear looks pretty good. I mean, you can see the hydraulic arms, and it has a little bit of color there. Nothing underneath, but really when it's sitting on its gear, you won't see that anyways. And then here, of course, is the front gear. It does have some text on it. Let me see if I can zoom in. See that? It says, Senior Sailor of the Year. It says AM1AW Mosley. I think that's what that says. If somebody knows what that means, send me a message in the comment, because I've never seen that before. All right, next up, we have some drop tanks. We actually have three, because you have two wing mounted drop tanks, and then you also have a center mounted drop tank if you want that option. already on a hard point. There's one. Here's the other one here. This one says Pukin Dogs on it with the Pukin Dogs logo. And I'll zoom in on that too real quick. There you go. Don't really know what that says right there. If somebody knows, let me know in the comments because I like to find that out. It's not really legible, to be honest with you, but is what it is. It's there. And then you have another wing-mounted tank as well. So 3 drop tanks you have the option to use or not. Next up, these are the points that you would cover if you want the landing gear in the up position, and these are basically the doors. So you would just pop these in to the spot where the landing gear is supposed to go for the rear, and this is the front nose landing gear as well. And it also has some text. AD1 AW Barry SSOT, let me know what that means. AE2 AW Robinson Soy, and then it says on the bottom here, let me flip it over. Senior Sailor of the Year, AM1 AW Mosley again. So let me know what those means, or let me know what those mean because I have no idea. Usually I think it would be like the pilot's name, but this looks like something different, and maybe people's names, but not sure. Next up, we have the stand. And what I like about this stand is it also has the metal neck. A lot of these Hobby Master models come with a plastic neck here, unless it's like the Dauntless, which I reviewed, which had a metal neck because of the weight of the model itself. But this part's plastic up top. This is what's going to be mounted to the plane to hold it up. And then this is the base part. This right here, I get questions about. This is the actual key. So when you install let me show you here. So when you install the bottom doors in the landing gear up position, if you ever want to get them out, it has a slot right there. This is what the key's for. You'll stick the key in and pop it out like that if you want to put the landing gear in the down position. All right, so let's start putting them on. So first off, we're going to start with the pilot and the canopy. And I'll show you, it comes with one of the canopies already installed. And this one's on here if you want to leave it in the closed position. You literally just wiggle it, and it has these tabs on the bottom that slide into there, and it comes off. So that's if you want it in the closed position with the pilot in. I'll zoom in and show you the cockpit. There's really not much to it. In fact, the F-18 had multiple MFDs, but this one here doesn't. It just looks like one in the center. Does have a joystick, has some detail on the side, no throttle, unfortunately, and the seat is pretty basic. There's also no cans on the side for the ejection seat or oxygen, but still looks pretty decent. You do have the sight up front there as well. All right, so the second canopy that they include is actually if you want to leave it in the up position. What you'll do is you'll just put it right there. Careful with this arm. In fact, I may do it underneath first. Yeah, that's what I would recommend. So put that little hydraulic arm underneath first, and then you put the canopy in like that, and it holds it in the up position if you want to show it on like a carrier deck or display it like this, like the pilot's, getting ready to start a mission or just finished a mission getting out. But for my model, I like to actually put the canopy down. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to put the pilot in, and make sure when you're putting him in, his legs are a little spaced apart because you have the joystick in the center. So just make sure when you put him in that his legs don't interfere with the joystick and break the joystick. It's a pretty tight fit. Let me see if I can show you. It's a pretty tight fit, honestly. A lot of models fit better, but you can kind of push them down a little bit like that, and that's how the pilot will sit. Next, just put the canopy back on, whichever one you want. And there you go. There's the pilot in the cockpit. Okay, so now we're going to install the AIM-120s. So we're going to flip it over here. And you can see there's actually 3 hardpoint spots right here on either side. And that's where they're going to go. But the first one that's going to go on is the single AIM-120 on the single hardpoint. And that's going to go on the outside. And the way you know that as well is if you look at that attachment on the hardpoint, it's smaller than this section here. So it can't even fit in any of these as well. And to install it, you're just going to line it up, kind of wiggle it down. Be careful because if you push too hard, it will actually, you can knock off the AIM-120 on the hard point because it is just glued. So that's what that one looks like. Next, you have the option to do the 2 AIM-120s on the dual hard point because you can see it's got a longer attachment base there. And then to do that, you would just push it down like this. And I'm not sure if this is a realistic loadout, guys. I just want to show you what it looks like with all of the weapons attached and how they would attach. So there it is with 3 AIM-120s on one wing. Next, we have a JDAM. And the JDAM would go, I believe, on the inner pylon, unless maybe you didn't want to carry these two, then you could probably put it here. But it would not fit on the outer pylon because this part's longer here that attaches, and this is a shorter attachment point. So it would go in this one or where the dual AIM-120s are. Same thing, you just want to push it down like that. And it has plenty of space, so they did a good job with that. Next we'll go to the other wing and do the exact same thing. Sometimes they don't, like that one right there. Sometimes they don't go in as good as other ones. It's just the way that the manufacturing is and the molding, because it is plastic going into metal. But most of the time it fits. If it doesn't fit, like that one actually was perfect. If it doesn't fit, I highly recommend getting some ticky tack. I use a black ticky tack, so you can't really see it if it's in there as much. They do also have blue sticky tack or whatever, different colors, but I like to use the black ticky tack. It's also a little stronger. So this one may not go in as good. No, it does. It's a pretty good fit. So this is what it looks like with the weapons on the pylons. It's kind of hard to hold it there, but that looks good. I really like the profile of the F-18. All right, so I almost forgot one of the AIM-120s. This is the side-mounted AIM-120, and you can tell because these posts right there and where my thumb is. And it's actually going to go in these two holes on the left side of the fuselage. So you're just going to line up the little post with the holes, and you may have to manipulate the weapon just a little bit because it doesn't feel like it fits perfect. And there we go. So it only comes with one on that side. Don't worry, if you only have one, that's all you're supposed to have. On this side of the fuselage is where the targeting pod goes. So this is the front of the targeting pod right here, and then you have this little tab that'll slot into that spot right there. And it may be a little difficult with the JDAMs on, but yeah, I'm gonna have to remove that. All right guys, so this is where the sticky tack comes into play because I could not get the targeting pod to fit well. So this is the ticky tack I use. I found it on Amazon. It's called Tack Black. It is really good. It's super strong. Comes with a ton of putty in here, and it like sticks really good. So way better than the other ones. I'm just gonna go ahead and put it on this post right here and see if I can get it installed. And there we go. So you can see it was kind of difficult to get on there, but that's the only way it would fit. The sticky tack holds really well. You can't even really tell because it's black, but it's right in there. All right, so this is what it looks like with all the weapons installed. Now, you won't be able to leave these all on here if you want to do the drop tank on the side, on the wings at least, but I just wanted to show you what it looks like if you want to install all the weapons and the targeting pod. Okay, so now I'll show you how to install the landing gear in the down position. So what you would want to do is you see this little tab on the back here. You're going to line it up with that slot right there. And you know which way is the front because these two doors are bigger than these rear doors. And all you're going to do is just slide it in like this, and you're going to push it all the way down. I'll show you all that in a little bit because sometimes it's pretty tricky to get back out because there isn't a slot to actually use your key when the landing gear is in the down position. So it can be really tricky, especially if it's tight fit like this one seems to be. So I'll put it in a little bit, but not go down all the way. You can actually get down in there if you need to pop it back out, but not if it's all the way down. So next we'll do the front gear, and it actually goes like this. And you can tell because it's got the square doors here as well as a slot there. And you just put the tab in the spot and you push down. So that's what it looks like with the gear in the down position. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and install the gear in the up position. Pretty easy to pop out that way. This is the piece that'll go in if you want the doors to be closed. And this little slot right there in the back goes towards the rear where this section is. And then it just has a tab on the bottom which goes into that slot. This is where that key comes into play. If you want to pop it out, you grab this key, stick it down in the slot, and it pops out like that. And then for the front gear, you have this little door here that I showed you earlier, and it's just going to go like this, and that tab's going to slot in like that. And then you also have a little hole right there if you need to use the key to get it out. This one does take a little bit of wiggling. It's not wanting to go, it's not the best fit. You can see I push down on one end and that one wants to pop out. So sometimes these take a little tweaking. That looks okay. I mean, still popping out a little bit, but sometimes you do have to shave off some of the tab a little bit. And then if you want to get this one off as well, you just pop that out. It also comes with one more one more cover right here. And this is for this section here. And the reason why you'd want to put that on is if you don't want this to be on the display stand and you just want to, for whatever reason, leave it like this, you pop that piece in like that. Really, if you have the gear in the down position, that's where that makes the most sense. Not in the up position, because you're going to want it on a stand if the gear's down or the gear's up. So, but that's where that would go. And then you could use the same little tool hole right there to pry this one off as well. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the drop tanks. This is the centerline drop tank, and you know that because of the Pukin Dogs insignia there, and it's going to go right here in this slot. You can actually install this with the landing gear in the up or the down position. That's what it looks like with the landing gear in the up position. But if you want to install it with landing gear in the down position, the rear of the drop tank is going to fit right there. So let me see if I can show you real quick. Pop it out again. Push the landing gear in, not all the way because it'll get stuck. And then there we go. So that's what it looks like if you want to put the drop tank on. Obviously it'd be more flush than this. I just don't want to push the gear all the way down or it might get stuck right now. And next we have the wing mounted drop tanks. To install these, you are going to have to remove one of these hard points here or here. For this video, I'm just going to remove the J-dam and go ahead and put it in this spot here. And you're just going to do the same thing as you did for the other weapons. Just push it down the hard point like that. Then we'll remove this one too. And see, that targeting pod is just not a good fit, unfortunately. I'm going to have to play around with that a little more. Didn't have a lot of room to get it in there, to be honest with you, even with the sticky tack. So we're going to push that in like this. And it does clear the targeting pod. Barely, but it does. So if you wanted to install it with all three drop tanks, that's what it's going to look like. So I went ahead and switched the gear back to the down position so I could show you what it looks like with the centerline tank and the gear in the down. Also, this is a carrier aircraft, and I want to show you what it looks like on the Basecraft carrier deck. I'll just start off by saying this looks awesome, guys. I mean, with the Hobbymaster F-18 and the Basecraft carrier deck, this is a really good setup if you want to display your model. I highly recommend reaching out to Basecraft to purchase one of these. I'll put a link in the video description below with their Facebook page. I don't know if they have a website yet, but you can get in contact with them on their Facebook, so I'll put that there. Also, I want to thank Historic Aviation for sending me this F-18 to review. They sent this to me to you guys, and I'll put a link in the video description below where you can purchase directly from their website if you want to buy this model or any other Hobbymaster model. They have other manufacturers as well, like Corgi and stuff like that. So really good website, awesome people there. So thank you, Historic Aviation, for sending me this model to review. Next, I'll kind of zoom in and show you the craftsmanship and the quality of the Basecraft model. I mean, look at the weathering and detail right here on the metal, also on the handrails. And these, of course, are the life raft that they would inflate if they needed to. And you can see the railing here on the side of the deck. And you can also see there's texture in the carrier deck as well as the paint. And I know it's kind of hard to tell from the video, but this is really good quality. I mean, this is actually where they would launch. Let me put the F-18 up here. Like that. And then the arrestor hook would go down right there. And that's what the catapult is, where they would launch. Look at the detail there, guys. They also sell deck crew, which unfortunately I wasn't able to get in time, but you can find it on their website as well. And the deck crew look really good. They're also painted. So if you want that, I'm going to try to get one myself because I think with this display it'll look really good. And here's the emergency slide there. I'm just kind of going around to show you guys. There's even a little, looks like electricity voltage sign. And then this is what it looks like from the back. It is hollow. It came with this little baggie here in the back. So if you get one and you're looking for these hydraulic arms for the jet blast deflector, they were in this baggie up underneath here. And I didn't know where they were. And at first I was freaking out because I really liked it, but that's where they were. So speaking of, we'll go ahead and get to the jet blast deflector here. You can actually put it in the up or down position. This is what it looks like, of course, in the up position. To put it in the down position, all you have to do is just remove these little hydraulic arms. They don't really lock in place. They just kind of sit there. So you can take the door off like this. I'll go ahead and remove them. And then this is what it looks like from the back. But you can lay it down flat like this if you want to show it in the down position. Like maybe they're setting up to launch, but they're not ready yet. And then just going around the other side. There isn't much detail on the other side, but I'm just Really impressed by the way it looks. There is at least some sort of graphic there on the other side. Of course, the carrier deck would be much bigger than this. You'd have way more catapults, but for this is all you need. It's good size. It's 172 scale, just like the plane itself. I also wanted to point out, this is the launch bar, not the arrestor hook. The arrestor hook's back here, and it does not actually come down. It's stationary, so unfortunately you can't move it. I almost forgot to show you all the stand. So this is the base itself. This is plastic. And then you have the neck right here, which again, this one's metal, and I really like that. And you have this little cutout in the back, which is gonna slot in here. You kind of like push it down like this. It fits pretty good. And then the neck at the top, you have this little piece here, which is gonna go like this. And it has a cutout in the front. That's the only way it can go. And then to put the F-18 on the base, that's where this spot comes in right here. And then on either side, the arm is gonna fit. So you're just gonna push it in like this. And then it's gonna rest like that. So I like that you can display the stand with the wheels and the gear in the down position or the up position. Some Hobbymaster models you can't do that. You can only do the gear in the up position. So I like that you have that option to do both. As either way, it looks really good, guys. Super impressed with this model. Hobbymaster has pretty much impressed me almost every time. Only thing with this one, like I said, is just it's a little glossy for me. I like the wear and tear of the aircraft like they've been flying, so I may do some weathering in the future, but there we go. Okay, and another really cool way you can display this, if you put the aircraft carrier deck in the back and then the F-18 on the stand, it looks like it just took off. And it is, like I said, 172 scale, so if you have any other 172 scale aircraft that are carrier based, it'll look really good. I do have another one, by the way, guys, so this is for a future video, hopefully pretty soon. This is a JC Wings F-14 Tomcat. This will look really good. And so this is kind of a preview of this model. I'm really excited to get this one open. And here's some of the ordnance. It has some JDAMs as well. So really excited to get to this. So that's a little preview. Stay tuned. But for now, I'm really happy with this, guys. Thanks again to Basecraft and Historic Aviation for sending me these models for you guys so I could review. And if you want, again, check the link in my video description to purchase these. Thanks for watching, guys. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to my video. I really appreciate it. It helps out my channel, and watch for future videos.